Promise you all that I will be coming to do some lives on Sunday because a lot of you like Sunday lives. So, welcome to Sunday lives. I'm going to try to do more lives on Sundays. So, I hope you guys are well. It's a beautiful day today. It's sunny and nice, and it's gorgeous outside. But I'm like, let me do the live, then I'm gonna go ride my bicycle for a bit to get some exercise. So let's do the live, guys. How was your week? I hope you guys had a good week, a positive week. I had a good positive week. So today we're gonna talk about some things that I wish I knew in my 20s and things like in career, relationships, money. I'm looking for there because of my computer. I want to make sure it's on money and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna talk about that because in your 20s, it's like a very crucial period in your life, and knowing certain things in your 20s will shape you onwards to other things as you get older. So there are certain things that I wish I knew, or certain things I have done better. And I know that I have some 20-year-olds watching me. So I wanted to give you guys some advice because why not? We the older ones who have more experience. We should share our good experiences with you all so you wouldn't do the same thing, because why do the same thing when somebody already do it and you see it's not good? So if you could avoid some things, then just avoid it and just move on to the next step. So that is why I'm here on the Sunday live. So let's talk. So I made some notes as usual, and I have my notes in front of me. So I look at the notes because I don't want to come here unprepared for you guys. So the first thing I wish I had done better, in my 20s, is to stop like focusing on that dream job that I wanted. I wanted to be a doctor, and I was just like so focusing on being a doctor like all my life. I was just focusing on that. It's not a bad thing. It is a good thing to focus on the thing that you want to do, but sometimes if it doesn't work out, then and if that's something that's not really relatable, sometimes you can get very disappointed and you just feel like you waste a lot of time. Say for example, if you're going to be a farm well if you want to be a farmer and you want to buy land and farm and be a farmer and sell your vegetables and stuff, and you study farming techniques, you study like different techniques, how to clear the land and how to make beds and all that kind of stuff. If you study that and then you didn't go to get a degree in farming, that's okay, because you can still use that knowledge that you have to grow food, and it's going to be valuable for your family. If you spend all your life doing like you want to be an architect or something, and then you start building stuff and making plans and all kind of stuff to build a great building that concrete foundation, all that kind of stuff, and then now when you get older you realize, hey, this is too expensive, I can't do that. Like, I can't even afford to buy concrete, I can't even afford to buy cement to build that kind of house, I can't do that kind of thing, I build with wood and whatever. You're going to be very disappointed maybe with yourself, because I feel like you study all that stuff, how to work with steel, how to work with all different like metal, and then you won't be able to use it at all in your life at no point, because maybe you just don't have the money, or you just financially not able to do that, so you're going to feel like if it's a waste. But if you study like architecture but you use wood, that would be like valuable to you. But again, like I'm saying, it's like a hit and a miss, and it's a up and a down depending on the thing that you want to be. So I want to be a doctor, so I was there reading medical books, taking care of any and anybody who needs my help, doing all kind of stuff, taking care of the dog, the cat, my brothers and sisters, whatever. That's what I did. Learn about medicine. I learned about plant medicine, and then I learned about other medicine like pharmaceutical medicine and stuff like that. But then when I didn't become a doctor, it kind of, it really took me like on another path. I was really disappointed, and it took me a while to get over it. Then I realized that it wasn't the end of the world, but that I could still use that stuff in my daily life and for my family. So yeah. But so sometimes focusing on the dream job too much, it's not good, because you may be disappointed. And if you don't get that dream job, you just kind of put you in limbo. So sometimes it's good to use like an entry level job to make money before you land that dream job, you know? So if you want to be a lawyer, for example, it would be good to take like an entry level job in a firm where you might doing filing, where you might being like a legal aid in there like that. So you kind of get your feet wet to get an entry level job, and then you in the profession, and then you step up, you know? Maybe I could have like be a nurse or something else before I step up and go and be a doctor or something like that, you know? So then the advantage of being like in an entry level position, it kind of prepares you for the big position, and it kind of gives you experiences. And maybe you might say, I don't want that big job that I was thinking about it. It's too much work, it's too much time, it's too time consuming and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you would change your mind or something like that. So like starting with an entry level position or something like that will be great, because then you kind of have your foot in there, and you can say, wow, I thought I thought I wanted to do this job, but then I realized, hey, I don't want to do this job anymore. So, and then in the process, you're still learning stuff, and you're still gaining experience, and you're still making money. So having like this entry position would be good. So in my 20s, like I wish I had done that in my 20s when it comes to like a career. The next point is like, don't start looking for that dream job only. Like look for other things, gain more experience, like gain more footing in other things, because the world is not just made up of one thing. There's many other things that is valuable and can be used in society, can be used in your daily life. If you focus on one thing, then you don't know anything else about any other thing. Like I know one person, she just focuses on every single thing. If you ask her about anything else, she just doesn't know. She has no clue. She can't cook, she can't clean, uh she doesn't like think much about fashion. She just very just focused on that one thing, and everything else is just like out to the door. She doesn't focus on relationship, she doesn't focus on anything else. Her mind is just focus on that one thing. If you ask her anything about politics, like she doesn't know because she doesn't care. Like, you know, so yeah. But the thing that she's really focused on, she's excellent on it. But like like when I talk to her, she always say, oh, you know, I'm so good at that stuff, but I feel so bad because I'm older now and I didn't take the time to learn other things, because she was so focused in the thing that she was, that in her career that she's doing, that she didn't take the time to learn all those other things. She's scared of everything else out there, doesn't go in nature, doesn't know much. And she's like, well, if I had learned that stuff, you know, I wouldn't have certain problems in my life. So you can focus on something that you love, you enjoy, your passion, you know, your career or something, but have some focus on other things, like get experience in other things, you know, learn to cook, you know, learn a skill in other things, you know, learn other things, because you need life skills, and life skills is important. Like if you don't have life skill, like duh, like what's the point, you know? um you know, I like to tell you guys stories when I come on this live. So I know like this person, she grew up in a home where she had servants. Her mom didn't want them to do like work and all that kind of stuff. She wanted them to be really focused, really educated, you know, as girls. She had girls, and she wanted them to really have like this life for themselves. And her focus was just on education, making sure they like their appearance is excellent, making sure they're just really, you know, smart and intelligent. And she put everything, she did everything for them, or she had somebody coming in and clean and cook and do all that kind of stuff for her kids. And she didn't make her kids do that because that was just not what she wanted them to be focused on. And so now when this child of hers, well, all of them actually, well, I'm talking about one particular child, but all of them were in the same boat, because this girl, now she's get older, and she was excellent in the career and the thing that she studied and everything, and she was doing great. And you know, she had a house, she had a car, she had all the materialistic thing that she wanted. And now she met this lovely young man, and they got married. And she was having a lot of difficulty in her marriage because she couldn't cook. She didn't know how to wash laundry. She never washed any laundry in her entire life. Can you imagine that? She never washed laundry. She never did any domestic things at all for herself. Everything was done by someone. She didn't cook anything. They cook, clean, made her bed. She didn't even make her bed. So maybe the mom thought she was doing something good because, she just didn't want her kids to have that life and stuff like that. But in the end, this girl, she was in tears because, yeah, she just, you know, and she had to go to therapy and counseling and stuff like that. Actually, her husband sent her to buy some sheets one day, and she bought the sheets and she brought it home, and the sheets were like, sheets were supposed to go on the bed, and she didn't even know how to put the sheets on the bed properly because she didn't even make up a bed. And then he told her, he said, oh, well, you didn't put the sheets on the bed. She says, okay, I'm gonna go put the sheets. And then he said, no, you can't put the sheets on the bed. You have to wash the sheets first. And so she put the sheets in the washing machine, and she put bleach with the sheets, and of course the sheets were ruined, and she was really embarrassed about that. The husband was like, whoa. But anyways, things like that happen. So sometimes we think we're doing the best things for our children, but that it's not the really best. We should think about what we are doing with our children before we set certain, examples and standards and stuff like that. Make sure it's gonna be good for them in life. Okay. So let's go back to being in your 20s, and this girl was in her 20s also, right? So let's not focus too much on this dream job, but like I said, make sure you're able to do life skill. You want that dream job, yes, but make sure that dream job also come with life skills. You need to be able to take care of yourself. Okay. The next point is, I wish I knew that in my 20s, was to not being so cheap. In my 20s, I was really cheap, like really, really cheap. When I say cheap, I mean cheap. Like, I wanted to save money and I wanted to just be in a certain financial situation. So I was very cheap. I would buy like cheap things instead of quality things. So I think in my 20s, I should have focused on more like getting quality things. Like I had so much clothing, like, yeah, in my wardrobe, so much shoes, so much this and that and the other. But I think if I had focused on like getting this quality clothing, like shopping with a specific brand, I know the things that I like, but I was like, oh, that thing is $15, that thing is $10, I would just buy it. And because I took good care of my things, I mean, they lasted long, but they were not like great quality things that would last me for years. But most of the things last me quite a while because I'm a person who loves to take care of myself. So they last a while. So I think in my 20s, I should have focused on like quality things and not quantity, because I had a lot of stuff, which just kind of really just created like too, like my closet was always brimming with stuff, always, because I'm always looking for the cheap deal, the cheap deal, the cheap deal, and not like, okay, I'm just gonna buy this one quality skirt, and or I'll buy this one quality shoe. Furniture and stuff like that, I didn't like really skim too much on it, but I searched because I wanted to find like good strong furniture and stuff. But in the beginning of my 20s, I did buy some cheap furniture, and I did suffer for it. Because I was just too cheap. I was like, I just need to be financially stable, and I just, like, I can't afford to be buying all this expensive stuff. So I just was too cheap. So I think like I should have focused on durability and things lasting longer than, because in the end I end up losing money. Because I remember I bought this nice looking dresser. I was like, you, this nice looking dresser, I think he had like 12 drawer. It was like so fashionable looking. And then in a couple of months, most of the drawers were like all broken. I was so upset. I was like, oh my God. It was like a huge like dresser, and it was looking pretty, but it didn't last very long. And then I had to go back and buy a next dresser. So yeah, I learned that not to be cheap. I also bought some like different like shoes and stuff, and they hurt my feet like crazy because they were just cheaper. And I should have just, like, I had 4 5 pair of shoes, which was like 20 30 bucks, 25 bucks, but they were hurting my toe. And I was like, I should just invest and buy like a $60 pair of shoe, or like a more expensive pair of shoe, and then I would have it for a long time. But anyways, I'm now older, and now I learn not to be cheap. Look for quality things, look for things that made in a certain way with leather, with certain softness in it, pay attention to that stuff. But in my 20s, I was very cheap and I didn't pay attention to certain things. So in your 20s, try not to be cheap. Look for quality things that's going to last you a long time. Look for durability. And yeah, the next thing I wish I knew in my 20s um, was to take more chances. So in my 20s, I took a little bit of chances, like not so much. I wasn't like I'm a natural I'm like naturally I'm a risk taker, but in my 20s, I didn't take so much risk because like I said, I wanted to be like financially stable and I didn't want to have to be really dependent on anybody else. I wanted to be able to take care of myself. And so I didn't take so many risks. I will take one or two risks. But I think if I had taken more risk financially and just go out and did more things and not be so careful, I think I would achieve more things that I wanted to achieve. Yeah. And once you have kids, you become even less like you take less risk because you're like, oh, if something happened to me, or like yeah. So I wish I was like I took more risk like in my 20s, especially financially. And in my 20s, I wish like I had monetized like the skills that I have more. Like I'm a person who is self-learn. I self-learn a lot of things. And I think in my 20s, I could have like used a lot of my abilities to make money. Like I could have been talking, doing a lot of talks because I used to like do talks, like public speaking and stuff like that. I could have zoned in on my public speaking skills. Um, I could also do more like plays and all that kind of stuff because I was into acting and dance and all that kind of stuff. So the skills that I had back then, I wish like I had monetized it instead of like giving the skills for free. Like I took part in a lot of like big plays and big events and things in my country, but I didn't make it into like a business, and I could have make it into a business because like I had the background. Many people know me. I was involved in so much different plays and different cultural things. Like I could have make it into a business, and I didn't like monetize on that. So I wish I had monetized on it. And I wish I also had like some of the high value skills that I had I mean, I still have those skills back then, like making stuff, creating stuff, like sewing, all that kind of stuff. I wish like I had monetized that skill and you like open a business with it, like my cooking and all that kind of stuff. So I wish I had monetized those skills and stuff. Like maybe I could have done something like in catering or something like that, because I would like cook for events for different things, but I never like charge people for it. So like a lot of the high value skills that I have, I wish I had monetized it in my 20s, because the good thing about coming like growing up in the Caribbean is in certain, like if you grow up in a certain area, a certain family um dynamics and certain areas in the Caribbean, like certain areas people do different things like farming, clothes making, basket weaving. There's a lot of skills. So I come from an area where like we have a lot of skills in my family: woodworking, building, weaving, sewing, like all that kind of skills. So if I had zoned in on those skills, like yeah, I could have monetized and my skills and make money for myself and being like in a really really high financial position. Even like like I said, catering, opening a store, selling different things, like yeah, marketing, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and these are things that are in my family, and these are things that I know how to do. So in my 20s, I wasn't like focused on that kind of stuff. So if you're in your 20s, focus on the things that is in your family that you know how to do, right? You know how to do it. So monetize it, make a business out of it, sell things, like offer your service to people and get paid for it. So that's something I wish I had done in my 20s: monetize my high value skills and stuff like that. Another thing I wish I had done in my 20s was like networking, like networking more with people, getting involved with people, and using that skills to make money for myself, you know, um, exploring more of that networking benefit and using it to my advantage. I wish I had done more of that. I wish I hadn't been like much of a like I would do things with other people, but not to the extent that I know I could have done it. I think I was too focused on doing certain things by myself and for myself, that if I had networked with other people, it'd have been better, and I would have learned more because I'd have gained more experience and insights from other people, and I've been able like to go in a different direction. Because when you and another person come together, or many people, everybody, have an idea, and by you bouncing off ideas of each other, you're able to you know, be more creative, hear more things, think more than your just one idea. So I wish I had done that in my 20s, like network with more people, gain more experience, right? The next thing I wish I've done in my 20s was pursue more like creative work. So like outdoor work, like taking like a course, like say for example like Adobe, travel to learn to do Adobe building, or travel like to Costa Rica, to what another country, and just learn things. Or like I wish I had traveled to Cuba. Like when I was in my 20s, I had the opportunity, I could have gotten like a scholarship, or my country have like I don't know how you call it, like an agreement with Cuba, like to study medicine and stuff like that. We can go over there and study. So I wish I'd taken that opportunity to go there and do internship and different things when it comes to medicine and stuff like that. I wish I had also done some like some more creative work in like volunteering with different institutions, like maybe going to Africa or something like that, and working on ground, building stuff, taking care of children, learning certain things in the environment, and just different things like that. Even like going to some place where they working with fabrics and stuff, because my grandma in my family, we're seamstress. Like making clothes is something that's in my family. It's like a generational thing that has been passed down. So I wish like I have taken that skill that was in my home as a child. I grew up with my grandma with a sewing machine, making clothes for the community, sewing and all that kind of good jazz. And I wish I had like taken that opportunity and like go somewhere and study to learn about different fabrics, different kinds of fabric, how fabrics are made, the textile, the different paints and materials and stuff like that. I wish I had like taken more chances to do that, like to learn more creative work, hands-on work with other people, and just working together in a team and as a community, learning together. So yeah, in my 20s, I wish I've done that, and I've done a little of that, like travel to another country and see certain stuff and do certain things, but I didn't do enough of it. So I wish I had done some more of that. So if you're in your 20s, pursuing that kind of things is good, because then it gives you that experience. It helps you to see another environment, and you get to meet other people. You see how they live their life, and you just gain experiences. And those experiences are gonna be with you forever, forever and ever. The next thing I wish I knew in my 20s was like um realizing how good like I was at certain things. Like I wish I had like I didn't take certain things for granted so much. I'm like, okay, I'm good at sewing. Oh, I'm good at cooking. Oh, like I didn't like I took it for granted. It wasn't like okay, I wish I had like said, wow, I'm good at that stuff. So like right in the back of my mind, let me use that stuff to my benefit. Let me use that stuff to make money. Let me use that stuff to bring it out to the community and maybe make some business so everybody can benefit from it, like a community, a teamwork, community effort, stuff like that. So like I wish I had hone in on all my good qualities and use it for the betterment of myself and for others around me. So, when you're in your 20s, you just kind of sometimes kind of you just so focused on certain things you don't really see like what's in front of you. So yeah, I wish I had like, you know, done more of that stuff. Okay. The next thing I wish I had done in my 20s is to seek out more mentors. Yeah, I wish I had seeked out more mentors for the things that I was really interested in and passionate about, So, yeah, so I think if I had seeked out more mentors, I would have more experience in the field. So, for example, I wanted to be a doctor. I think I should have like hanged out more with people who are in the medical field. I hang with just one person, who is a doctor today. But I think that was not enough. I should have been around more other people and they would give me some more advice and, talk to me about certain things. And maybe they would tell me, oh, here's maybe you can go study. Maybe you're not going to be a full-fledged doctor in that what you want to study, but you can still be in medicine. You can do that kind of stuff. You can do this here. Maybe you can be a doctor for air, or maybe you can be a doctor for eye, or maybe you can be just a general physician, something like that. So seeking out mentors and getting people to talk to you, giving you insights on how things are done. Maybe giving you books to read, maybe just telling you places where you can just go and get internship. Just like learn, just learn. So that's something I wish I could have seeked out. Another thing I wish I should have seeked out more was my hobbies. So something that I'm good at is storytelling. And when I'm teaching, I I do a lot of storytelling as a teacher in school. And a lot of people, like a lot of schools that I teach in, like everybody know me that I tell stories. So I had made like a program in the afternoon where I tell stories to children, and even I go to the I go to classes in the school that I work in, and I tell stories like during the quiet period. So yeah, I'll do that. Sometimes we'll combine classes, and I'll tell stories, and that's an amazing thing that I did in my teaching career. So, I mean, everybody knows me. All the principals knows me. I tell stories. So that storytelling was taught to me by my grandparents. Storytelling is something that we did from like as children. Every night we were told stories, all kinds of stories about the buccaneers, about shipwrecks, about island, all kind of different things. We were exposed to those stories by our grandparents and our great grandparents. Even our uncles told us stories. And because we lived in the mountains and we didn't have like electricity, we live off grid, and we spent a lot of time reading. We didn't have computers and stuff like that. We just had the radio. So we listened to a lot of radio, we listened to a lot of classical music, but we read a lot. So whenever my grandmother would travel a lot to the big city, and then she would bring back lots of books. My parents was away, living in another country, was doing business, and they send us a lot of books. So when it comes to books, we were very um, versed in like whatever was written in books, and we didn't just read like kiddie books, because we were reading by four. I was reading by 4 years old, so just imagine that. And I think in my family, reading comes easy for us. I don't know, maybe it's just something generational or something in our family, but we read pretty early. And so we had boxes and boxes of books, and we had many varieties of books to read from, encyclopedias. There's just all kind of books to read from. So I was exposed to all kind of books and all kind of things, ships, different, all kind of things as a young child. I knew I was like, I knew so much stuff. I had medical books, I had all kind of books that I read. And then there's a library which was like in our town. We took like 45 minutes to drive there. I would go there, and also got lots of books to take home and read. So like books was like a big thing for us. And my grandmother, she read a lot. She read so much books. She read the newspaper every week. And from back when she was younger, she also read books, and she have all the stories that is in her head. And she told us all the stories. Like she used to tell us the story about the buccaneers. The buccaneers were pirates, and they they would go in all these different places and they would raid places, and she told us all this wonderful stories, and I kept the stories in my brain. And one day I hope I read a book. I hope I write a book. Actually, I'm writing two books at this moment, and it's taken me quite a long time, but hopefully I'm writing two children's book. But anyways, I have all the stories in my head. So when I go to school, I tell stories to the children, and I also tell my daughters, and I also tell my children when they're little stories. I still tell stories right now. My kids love when I tell stories. I know what the other day I was doing a video and my husband was saying, "No, please tell us a story," because when we travel, I tell stories, and the stories they come naturally, and most of the stories, yeah, they just come naturally to me, and then some of the stories are from my grandmother, yeah, and some of the stories they're in my head, and I just tell them. Anyways, so yeah, I wish I had used like storytelling to make money, because I could have done that. So I didn't utilize my storytelling skills like a career, and I still can use that. I wish I had done that. I wish I had like recorded all the stories my grandma told me. Then I'll have a whole big book of stories right now, but I didn't record all of them. Then I'll be telling lots of stories, right? The next hobby that I didn't like I think in my 20s I could utilize was hair braiding. Many people don't know, but I can cornrow hair all kind of different styles. And in my community as a young girl, I used to braid my people in my community here. Like every Sunday, my house was just filled with people coming to do hair. So it was just their natural hair, and I will just braid the hair in any style. They'll just tell me whatever style they wanted, and I'll just braid it in all kind of different style, like cornrows with singles, with curls and twists and this and that. And that was something I could utilize. I remember my grandmother telling me like, "Oh my gosh, she's so awesome at doing this hair. Like you could charge everybody $5 or $6 when they come to do their hair." But I didn't use like I didn't my I didn't do that. I don't know. I like to give people, I like to do things that people sometimes free too much. So in my 20s, I wish I had like utilized that. I think if I had opened a saloon back then doing natural hair, a lot more people would have natural hair, because people come to my house to do hair so regularly. It's like I would do the hair of people in my village, and then when they would go to their work, and they would say, "Who do that hair for you? Who braid this hair for you?" And then they would say, "Oh, it's Hazel. I go to her house and she braid for me." And then somebody will be calling me and say, "Oh, can I come to your house to do your hair? You remember that style that you did for that girl? Can you do it exactly like that?" And yeah, many people come to my house, and my grandma used to get upset. She'd be like, "Are you charging people money to do their hair?" Like, yeah, she used to get really upset at me. But yeah, I didn't like really charge to do hair. So sometimes people would give me money, sometimes they don't. But I didn't really care. It was just like a passion. It's like when I did the hair and I see like how beautiful it was, like it was just so amazing. And back then I wish like we had like, cell phones that we could be taking like those pictures, I'll keep a record of all the hair that I do, and all the beautiful styles that I braided in the hair. That would have been like to keep a record of that stuff would have been great. Okay. Another things I wish I knew in my 20, like I knew in my 20s and I did in my 20s was like to to be more frugal in my 20s and save more money. Like I'm not saying that I wasn't frugal, but I think I spent a lot of money in my 20s because I I worked a lot and I rewarded myself a lot because I feel like, I worked a lot, and I'm a hardworking person. And so I rewarded myself with a lot of things. And over the years, I've realized that, whoa, I bought like a necklace, like gold necklace or gold earrings and gold things or silver things. And now in my 40s, I says, whoa, I still have that stuff. And I'm like, whoa, I can't believe like I used to buy all this jewelry and all that kind of stuff. Like I still have those things, but like just I look at those things back then, I said, wow, can you imagine like if I didn't buy all that stuff? Can you imagine if I didn't spend that money? You know how much things I would have right now? Can you imagine if I had made this decision, if I had like not done that? Yeah. So a lot of things that I did in my 20s, I have a lot of memorabilia from my 20s. When I look at them in my 40s, I say, "Oh, that's nice, but that was silly. I shouldn't have bought that. I could have saved the money. I could have done something else with the money." So yeah, I look at that. So I wish like in my 20s I had more like money sense. Like I wish I had somebody like giving me financial advice, like telling me, put your money in this here, put your money in that, put your money. Like I had to go and find out about finances, like how to invest my money, how to do this, how to do that. And I did invest my money in a couple of things, but I wish I had that. Now you have all these financial gurus out there giving you all this advice, and they tell you, go do stocks, do bonds, do this, do that, do the other. So I'm thinking like 20 years ago, if I had invested in certain things, like 20 years, that would have been like a 20-year investment, and that would have been that would have been such like a benefit to me right now in my 40s. So in your 20s, learn like finances. I mean, my parents tell me about finances. They tell me, always save your money, don't spend all your money, put aside some money. Yes, that's good financial advice. Put aside money, don't like be spending money like crazy. But like the great depths of how to invest, what to invest in, turnovers, maybe real estate, all that kind of stuff. Like I wish I had that. Um, I wish I had that kind of education and that kind of advice and that kind of sit down and that kind of know how, so I can, invest earlier in life and make some kind of, decisions there in my early 20s, because the earlier you start in life, it's better for you. And then I think had I known all that thing, I'd be like, budgeting, and I would have budgeted like, how you say, like my budgeting system would have been on par. It would have been different. Like I would have the budgeting like down par, and I would have stick to certain stuff because I knew it. I mean, I should say like with my 20s I did budget, but it wasn't that deep budget sense that I have now and that great understanding of budgeting. So if I had that great understanding from back then, can you imagine what it would be like? So I mean, I knew my parents, they had businesses since I was a kid. It's my dad. But can you imagine if you had sat me down and said, this is how I make my money, this is what I do, da 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 da. That would have been like excellent. So I wish like I had that, like I had seek that in my 20s. I wish I had gone to my dad and said, like, Dad, teach me how you make money, teach me how you did that. Like I wish I had done that instead of like trying to do that thing on my own. Like I wish I had gone to my uncles and asked them, uncles, can you tell me how to do that thing? Because my uncles on my dad's side, they're very good in that finance thing. Like I wish I had like tried to do all that things on my own when I could just ask to do it. So in your 20s, ask for things, ask for help. You want to do something, go to people and ask them, how do you do that? Can you show me how to do this? Like that. You want to save money, you want to be a financial guru with your money, like go to the financial gurus and ask them questions about this and how that is done. What books did you read? What kind of plans can I make? What kind of strategies? How can I implement things this in my financial plans, in my budget, in my savings, whatever. Me, what I know is my plan back then was, if I walk in for $400, make sure that half of my money is not going in rent. That was my big thing back then. I think back then that's how I was able to like keep my head above water and like didn't have to like worry about finances too much, because I think that was something that my grandma taught me. She's like, make sure you're saving your pennies, saving your pennies. And she said, like, if you have $1, make sure you don't spend make sure you don't spend the whole dollar. Make sure you spend 50 cents and you have 50 cents left. So that was my financial thingy. So don't spend the whole dollar. Make sure you spend 50 cents and keep 50 cents. So I kept that in my head. And when I work, I was like, okay, if I'm making $400, I allowed to spend 200, but I shouldn't spend the next 200. That should go away for savings and all kind of stuff. So I think like that financial advice really kept me, because every time I work, I'll be like, nope, I cannot spend half of my salary. Nope, I can't spend half of my salary. So as in my 20s, that was my kind of budget thing, because I think, that's what I was told, so that was basically it. And then, as you get older, you learn stuff, you know how to budget, how to do things, and all that kind of good stuff like that. But if somebody sit down with you and they really tell you how to go about the process, it's going to be easier instead of you having to figure out that on your own. Because when somebody tells you, they already did it, so they just give you the plan and you just follow it. But if when you have to research something, you don't know if this is true, if it's the right thing for you, so it takes a little bit more time and energy. It is not bad. It has its advantages and disadvantages, because sometimes you can make the wrong decisions for yourself, or sometimes you could do something that is just too rigid, or on the other hand, it may just be fantastic for you, and you may be just like, the sky's the limit, you know what I mean, and you just get up there very quickly. But it's always good to ask people who have been there before you how to do certain things if you want to get certain way, and especially people who are successful at what they're doing, and they're doing it really, really well. So I wish I had spent less money and be like less eager to buy certain things, because you're young and you just want to enjoy life and you just want to have certain things. Yeah, certain things. Because I look at certain things like jewelry, I look at certain furniture, I look at certain pieces of clothing that I bought, and I'm saying, what was I thinking back then? That money that I spent, I should not have spent it. So yeah, so that's one of the things. Save more money and spend less. I wish I knew that. Yeah, I had kind of balanced that in my 20s. And the the next thing I wish I knew in my 20s is concerning relationships. I wish I knew, like, I had the experience, or how you should say, the knowledge. Yeah, I wish I had the knowledge concerning relationships, not just personal relationships, but relationships with a man and a woman. Like, I wish I had that experience more, and that teaching about relationships, so I would know how to position myself in my 20s, maybe to have that relationship that I want, that how to get the man that I want, um, how to navigate myself in life at an early age. So I wish, like, that was taught to me at an early age, because in my home, like, those kind of things were not talked about. That's something that was not talked about in my home. So yeah, so I think it's really important that we talk to our children when it comes to relationships and finding a good husband, and how to go about things, and give them that foundation, so they can, you know, build on. Because telling a child, like, well, like, you're gonna get married one day, keep yourself in order, like, that's not a relationship talk. This is not like this is not like an instruction. Is You need to give your children the manual on how they should go ahead in life, how they should build relationship, even building relationship with other people, like a girl, two girls, your best friend, or just friendship in your workplace or whatever. I think these are all things that should be talked about, like, in the home. Tell your children things like that. Talk to them about stuff, because these things are important. These things are, you're going to use them every day in your life. And I think as parents, sometimes we fall short with these things, and we just don't talk about certain things, and that's so important. And so I wish in my 20s, like, I had invest more in relationships, like personal relationships with people. I wish I had not been so like, okay, well, I can do this on my own. I don't need people. Like, I wish I had not done this. But I think it's all good. He has his advantages and disadvantage. I think in my case, when in my 20s, I was a kind of a loner, and I had friends, but not this deep relationship, because I think I didn't trust people, because I didn't want them to, like, lead me astray. So in the back of my head, I was always thinking, like, nope, I gotta always be on guard. So I think me being on guard all the time like, prevented me from forming deep relationship, because if you're on guard all the time, you don't really trust people, and you would not build a deep relationship with them, because you're always on guard. So I just focused on what is in front of me and what I wanted to achieve. And I didn't focus too much on building like very deep, lasting relationships with people. And in my 20s, I wish I knew like the value of like building those deep relationships from back then, because now when you're older it's so hard to make like deep lasting relationships with people. It's just not the same, you know. So like I have one friend that I know since we were very young. I'm older than her a couple of years, but I see the value of that relationship. Like we're still friends right now, even if we're doing different things in our life. Every time she travels, she's in the US, she calls me. She says, "Oh, can you come over? You know, you want to hang out? You want to do something? If I can, maybe I'll go over," or stuff like that. But we had that relationship from since we were kids. So can you imagine if I had more deep relationships like that with other people? Then I could always call up my friend over there. I can call my friends there. I can call my friend there. You know, if I need something to be done, if they need something to be done, it can be done. We can network in different things because, you know, all the friends that I knew in childhood, they're all in different phases in the life. I have my friend Christine, she's in the army. You know, I have another friend, she's doing business. You know, all these people that I know, if we had kept that deep connection, I you know, we could help each other, you know, do different things. Like when I wanted to do photography and stuff like that, you know, I could have called my friend and said, you know, can you help me with that? But we don't have that deep relationship. So when I go visit my country and I see him, I go say, "Hi, how are you doing?" and whatever, whatever. But we don't have that deep personal relationship. And I think it's important to build deep relationships with people, even if you're not um, close by, but just building relationships with people who you know are dependable and you could call on them instead of being a loner. Loner has its advantages, but it has a lot of disadvantages because not everything that you're able to do on your own. You do need people. You do need people. And if you don't form certain relationships, then you just become a loner all your life. So that's basically it. Unless you're not doing anything that you really, really need people, that you really have a business already set up and you're good to go, you're good financially, or yeah, you don't really need people in that sense. You really have a home, you're living somewhere out there, you know, you're just gonna be there for a very long time until you die. You know, you have your little plot of land, you have your home, you have your job, you're a very healthy person, you know, you have a couple of friends that you know, you hang out every now and then. But you know, like if you have this kind of stable life, you live in the same place all your life, you know, like maybe that's not gonna affect you so much. But if you're a person who moves around, maybe travel a lot, do you know, do different things, you need to like having some good relationship with people is very important, because when something go wrong, you're really definitely gonna need somebody to call. You're gonna need somebody to come to your rescue and need somebody to come to your aid. So in my 20s, I wish I had built deeper relationships and not be such a loner. Now, I'm not saying that anything is wrong with being a loner, because honestly, I like being alone. I I like people too, but I think for me, being alone helps me to think more. It helps me to see more of myself. It helps me to be more creative. And I think it helps me to give more to the people that I come in contact with, because I think naturally I'm just a loner. That's what it is. Like I can be alone for days. It doesn't bother me. I can travel by myself. I can spend a week, 2 weeks all by myself, and it's just like when the 2 weeks is finished, I'm like, oh my gosh, where did the time go? Because I'm occupying myself with so much things. Like I'm the kind of person who is constantly occupied with something. There's never a time in my life where I feel bored. Honestly, I don't get bored. People say, "Oh, I get bored. Oh, I don't know what to do." But that's not me. I'm crocheting, I'm sewing, I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm taking pictures, I'm making YouTube videos, I'm trying out a new recipe, I'm doing something with my children, I'm doing something with my husband, I'm traveling, I'm going solo camping on my own. I don't do solo camping videos on here, but I should do some solo camping. I love going solo camping on my own. I just tell my kids where I am, and I just go. I just pack my van, put my sleeping stuff inside, and I love going solo camping. Like I like sleeping outside by myself. I feel so, I don't know. I feel so great. So a lot of people, they don't like to be by themselves. They feel anxious. They feel, I don't know, but I don't know. Just me being in my van and just camping out there, reading a book, like I'm in heaven. Yeah. So yeah, I like being alone. So, but like I said, I wish I had built more deep relationships in my 20, and like wasn't so goal focus, and not like focus on building friendships and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what's going on. Every time I come on the live, somebody's is calling me. So guys, that's basically it. So when it comes to career, when it comes to money, when it comes to relationships, there's many things that I wish I had known in my 20s. And yeah, and I wish, and another thing that I wish, like in my 20s, like I wish I had like said like no to people more. I wish I had said no. I wish I had just like keep on my steady path, stick on the plans that I had for myself in my head, the things that I wanted to do. Like just keep going, and don't be so afraid of what people would say. Yeah. So I wish I'd done that. I wish I knew how to do it back in my 20s. That's what I should say. I wish I knew how to just be like, nope, move away. I'm going this way. Move out to my path. I'm going this way. Excuse me, I'm going this way. No, I'm not listening to you. I wish I knew how to do those things like efficiently and well. Not today I say, okay, I'm gonna go this way. Tomorrow I'll say, no, I'm going that way. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's basically it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Welcome to everybody who come to the live. I see you guys in the live, but not many of you said anything or commented anything like that. But I can see all of you in the live. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you guys. Everybody who watched me, I appreciate you. Thank you for all the nice messages that you send me. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the love. Thank you for all the encouragement. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks at 2,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. I can't believe 2,000 of you is watching me. So I really appreciate you guys, and I appreciate your times that you spent with me. And if you, all those 16 to 34 people that are watching on my channel there in that age group, so I hope you guys take this little talk today and use it to your benefit. And like look in your life, look in your 20s, see what's happening, and see some things that you can change, or the things that you really want to do, the things that you really want to zone in on, the things that you really want to achieve. Um, take a notebook, write things down, and really start to put your life down on paper, basically, and get your life in order, and do the things that you love and you enjoy. Because I always say on my channel, life is very short, and I mean, when you're young, you want to enjoy yourself. You don't want to like be like an old person laying in your bed, on your dying bed, and be like, I regret I didn't travel, I regret I didn't go swimming, I regret I didn't do this, I regret I didn't learn that skill. Like, no, don't do that. Just live your life to the fullest, enjoy your life, and just be happy in your life, and do the things that you want to do the things that you love to do. Okay, guys? So thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you in the next live. Bye.